So, today, we're going to dive into a really pivotal story from the book of Genesis. It's a story about this huge, world changing promise given to one man and the immediate character defining test that comes right on its heels. And this story, man, it really makes you think about things like faith, fear, and just how fragile we can be.
And that question really is the heart of it all, isn't it? I mean, really think about it for a second. What would it take for you to just up and leave everything? Your home, your job, your family, your entire identity? This is the exact dilemma Abram was facing thousands of years ago, and his choice is what kicks this whole story off. All right, so let's set the scene. It all kicks off with a command that is truly life-altering, and an even bigger promise given to a man named Abram. Just try to wrap your head around what's being asked here. I mean, this isn't just packing a U-Haul and moving to a new city. Abram is being told to cut ties with his entire support system, his heritage, everything that made him who he was up to that point. So why would he do it? Well, here's the why. An incredible three-part promise. First, he'll be the father of a great nation. Second, he'll personally be blessed and made famous. And third, he will somehow be a source of blessing for the entire world. The stakes are, well, they couldn't be any higher. And get this, Abram was 75 years old when he heard this. This wasn't some young guy looking for an adventure. This was a man who should be in the last chapter of his life. And he's being asked to tear it all up and start over. The amount of faith that took, it's just hard to even imagine. So what does Abram do? Amazingly, he doesn't even hesitate. He acts on the promise and starts the journey into a land he has never, ever seen before. And you gotta understand, this wasn't some symbolic gesture. This was a huge logistical operation. He's got his wife, Sarai, his nephew Lot, all their stuff, their entire household. We're talking about a massive caravan, a whole community on the move, all based on nothing but faith. Okay, so when he gets to this new promised land, one of the very first things he does is build an altar. This is a really powerful move, right? It's a physical sign of his commitment to the promise he just followed. At this point, you'd think his faith is rock solid. But, and there's always a but, isn't there? This is where the story takes a hard left turn. The promise has been made, the journey's been taken, but now that rock-solid faith is about to get its first real test, and it comes in the form of fear and desperation. And boom, the first crisis hits. A terrible famine strikes the very land he was promised. This puts him in an impossible position. Stay here and starve, or go look for help in the powerful foreign nation of Egypt. He decides to head to Egypt. So now Abram is at this huge crossroads. He's just shown this incredible faith, but now he's staring down some very real, very human fear. He's a total stranger in this powerful land, and he is genuinely scared for his life. And what does he do? He comes up with a plan, but it's a plan built on fear, not faith. He asks his wife, Sarai, to lie and say she's his sister, so that the Egyptians won't kill him to get to her. And look, the plan to save his own life, it kind of works, but the immediate result is just a complete disaster. Sarai is taken right into Pharaoh's palace. And this is where it gets really weird and ironic. Pharaoh thinks Abram is just Sarai's brother, so he showers the guy with gifts. Abram gets all this livestock, servants, camels, all while his wife is living in another man's harem. You can just feel the moral tension here, right? It's uncomfortable. Okay, so this whole situation is a ticking time bomb. It can't last. Let's see how this whole lie just completely falls apart. And spoiler alert, it's not because Abram suddenly gets brave, it's because of some direct divine intervention. And the turning point happens fast. God steps in directly, sending these awful plagues on Pharaoh and his whole household. The text is super clear that this is happening because of Sarai, Abram's wife. What started as a private lie has now exploded into a full-blown public crisis. So Pharaoh puts two and two together pretty quick, and he calls Abram in. Just can you imagine the absolute shame of that moment? It's the pagan king calling him out. He exposes the lie and hits Abram with that simple, devastating question. What have you done to me? So in the end, it's not like he just quietly packs his bags and leaves. No, this is an expulsion. Abram, his wife, and all the stuff he got from his lie, they're basically marched out of the country. He came into the country looking for help, and he's leaving in total disgrace. And all of this leaves us with a really fascinating question, right? In this one short story, we've seen Abram show incredible faith and crippling fear. This is supposed to be the great hero, the chosen one, but he's also deeply, deeply flawed. It really makes you wonder what this story is trying to tell us about these huge divine promises and, well, the very imperfect people who have to carry them out.